In this video, which is part 2 of how we can create an annual wheel with the Plandisc, we're going to start to put in space between every data set here of our donut chart. So now we have our basic plan wheel text or arc. What I want to do now is focus on how do we calculate this point to here. So let's start to create a few more data sets. So I'm going to add every data set here. Let's add in 2 more. Comma, paste, comma, paste. Alright, and I'll just make sure that these have their own colors as well. There we are, and that. And then, final one here. Let's delete some of these colors. Let's save that, refresh. As you can see here, we don't like this. It needs to have space between each other and it should be thick enough. So how do we make it a bit more thicker? So we're going to scroll down here. Remember this cutout percentage. I'm going to remove this. We don't need this anymore. We're going to recalculate and create our own thickness. Let's save this, refresh. So now it touches the very edge of our arc here or circle. What I want to do is I want to make sure it has space between each other all the time. And that is sadly not possible if you would do this. Maybe you would say, what if I do 70? It just doesn't work really well. So we don't need this. We're going to control our own option. For that, we're going to start working. I guess we can do it maybe here down. That will be fine. So we have here this text circle that I will not touch anymore, and we'll probably do it in the next video or something like that in another part. But what I want to do here now is start to consider a few things. I want to have always between every one of those additional space of maybe 15 pixels, so we can put in very small the text of the month, January, Feb, etc, etc. So to do this, we're going to say here constant text padding. Constant text padding will be equal to 15 pixels. So then what I want to do next is remember the outer radius, and we had the inner circle divided by 2. We use this for calculating the arc here, but now we have this excess space here. What I want to do is I want to divide the remaining space by 3, but also calculate the 15 pixels of padding for every layer. So what we're going to do here first, we're going to say here this inner circle, I'll copy this, then say here constant, and then we're going to say here, I'm not a right term for this, but I'll call the triple or the layers, maybe triple layers. I'll just call it triple. And what we do with a triple, it shouldn't be really triple, it's individual, divide by 3. That's it. That's the inner amount of pixels of difference. So once we have this, the next thing what I want to do here is start to draw the item. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to show you first how can we draw them. If I do a console log, we're going to say here chart.getDataSetMeta index 0. And then what I can do here is we can just say here dot the data, save this, refresh, open up the developer tab. You can see here we get all this information, and you can see here again the inner and outer radius. By default, this is the outer radius, but this is the inner radius, and it's the identical for each one of the same data set. And then for the next data set, it's a bit smaller because it gets closer and closer to the center. So that makes all sense. But we can play around with it by recalculating or reassigning a value to our inner and outer radius. So that's what we're going to do here right now. And this here easily allows us to do. So what I'm going to do here is quite simple. I'm going to delete all of this. I'm going to say here dot for each, because I need to reassign the inner and outer radius for every data point. So say here for every data point and a comma index, I'm going to say a function arrow expression, and then what I want to do here is the following. I'm going to say the data point will be equal to the outer radius, and that will be equal to what exactly? It is the inner circle, which is basically this point, and then we have to calculate how many we need to go out or in. So we're going to say inner circle plus, and what we're going to plus? The triple. For the triple, I'm going to do here, but because I want to make sure that this red one is always at the outer part, but you could do it also in the inner, depending on what you want to do with triple. But if it's outer, I need to multiply this by the amount of data sets that we have. Basically, I want the third layer outside. That is a triple, or the third layer. So I do this. Then, what I want to do is for the inner radius, which is basically this one, recalculate this as well. Put it in there, say inner radius, and that one will be not triple, but just, or triple multiplied by 2. By doing that, if I save this, refresh, you can see here, not really much has changed. I think a little bit, but what I want to do now is start to give it space for the next one. So what I'm going to do here is I want to reconsider text padding. So plus text padding, there we are. And now we have some space between there. So what I want to do next is, of course, for the other layers as well. I'm going to copy for this. I don't know yet a better way to do this, so bear with me, because this here will be from 2 to 1. And this will be index 1. So maybe there are better ways for this to do it like a for loop. But for me, I've so far tried. It's a bit tricky because of our declining numbers here. While this is starting to increment. So I say 2, 1, and here we are declining as well. So if I save this, refresh, there we are, and now we basically have space ready to put in text, quarter, month, etc., etc. Well, that looks quite nice, and I think this is it for now.